Mullen's gone. So, look, we've talked a ton of Dan Mullen, bad recruiting, bad this, bad that, but mostly a terrific coach in the SEC. One bad year, he's gone, but it is a bad year. Question is, who's coming? Who can Scott Strickland and the Gator boosters lure to come to Gainesville? Man, when it's rolling, it feels like the best job in the country. When it isn't, it doesn't. I don't know. To me, you have so much talent surrounding you. There's just no reason to not have great players. Need to be more into recruiting, but I mean, this is a school that's got two different coaches, and they've got 3 national titles combined. But the last 3 coaches were all fired. What are we hearing? Pete, you can start.
Well, I think we have the most fascinating coaching carousel showdown that I can recall in the 2 decades of covering this. You have 3 consensus, no argument, top 10 jobs. You have a rapidly disintegrating pool with Mel Tucker. James Franklin's kind of saying he's staying now. He said that to some booster club in like Altoona this week. The Altoona, you're talking carousel when the Altoona Booster Club quote comes up. It's that and the beach house are like the 2 things that always emerge. If I had to, off the top of my head, do a Florida pool, it wouldn't be all that different than the other pools I would have to do. I would say they'd be interested in James Franklin. They'd be interested in Matt Campbell. They'd be interested in Luke Fickell. And then like Billy Napier levels on their, on their B list. Do they ponder a coordinator? And do they go with like a Brent Venables, who's kind of been unmovable all these years, turned down interest from Auburn last year? Do they go with, Dan Lanning all of a sudden, like maybe comes into play? Like there are going to be names in this carousel that we never thought of that are going to end up being hot. Dave Clawson, Pat Narduzzi, even Jeff Hafley could end up on some B lists because of his NFL background in the Ohio State piece. Like there are far more high profile when you throw in Washington. I mean, Washington has made the college football playoff. Miami has won a national title this generation. TCU has played for the Rose Bowl.
Won it.
Yeah. And Virginia Tech, like these kids weren't born at that point, but Virginia Tech in our lifetime here, played for the national title. So that A list is going to be hot, and timing is going to play such a role in this.
Just kind of my thoughts on probability, that sort of thing. A couple things to keep in mind. I think there are a lot of people outside of the Florida program, but with some interest in the Florida program, i.e. boosters, donors, who love the idea of Lane Kiffin. Now, how does Lane Kiffin go together with Scott Strickland? A little bit oil and water. The other part of the equation there, the last 2 football coaches there have been a little bit high maintenance pains in the ass. All right. Jim McElwain and Dan Mullen. Mullen's a great coach, but he was not the easiest guy for Scott Strickland to work with at Mississippi State. I'm not sure that changed at all at Florida. So do you want a third guy in Lane Kiffin who can be a handful? Which Lane Kiffin, I think we're all pretty sure, would be a handful. But lighting up offenses, recruiter extraordinaire, would be able to come in and say, hey, I'm in the mix for Arch Manning. You want to transfer his interest from Ole Miss maybe to Florida? So I'm not sure that's a fit, but I think there are people at Florida who are intrigued by Lane Kiffin. Mike Gundy talked to Florida in 2017. That was in Ross Dellinger's story on that coaching search. Mike Gundy right now is on fire, mostly because his defensive coordinator's on fire, Jim Knowles at Oklahoma State. But he is 10-1 and going to be playing for possibly a Big 12 championship and or a college football playoff spot. Does he have renewed interest there? I don't think Strickland would go after a Mark Stoops because Mark Stoops is Mitch Barnhart's guy. Scott Strickland owes a lot of his career to working under Mitch Barnhart. That would be a difficult one. Now,
no loyalty. No loyalty.
Well, I mean, eventually that's the way it goes in the SEC, right? It's like,
no loyalty.
You know what? Love you, Mitch, but I got to come try to take your coach. I think Dave Clawson would be the perfect Scott Strickland match. I just don't know whether the boosters are like, yeah, we want that guy, especially if they've already got their eyes on Lane Kiffin. I don't think there's an easy solution, but there's a lot of candidates, and it's still a good job.
I wonder if Bob Stoops would come back for that.
Yeah. You know, he enjoyed his
Former
time in Gainesville.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, it's somebody's getting stuck with a coach that they don't, that nobody thinks is the guy they want. Like,
Right.
and that happens. And you also don't know. You know, like one of the most surprising coaching jobs this year is Shane Beamer, South Carolina. Like,
He's done a great job.
he's done a good job. Who knew, right? Steve Sarkisian, total disaster. So, you know, it's I don't know, who the heck knows? Texas was very excited about their hire a year ago. They're demonstrably worse than if they had not fired their coach. Someone is going to fire. Some of these guys are going to wish they go back to the old coach.